All right, I think we can get started. Thank you all for joining us today. Really excited to share some information with you about the MyEnergy platform for the Appliance Upgrade Program. I know there are quite a few participants on today's call. Again, if you could keep your lines muted, and if there are any questions, if you want to enter those into the chat, we can save them at the end of the meeting, or if there's a immediate need, I guess, for a question, we can just type it in the chat. And there'll be a time for questions at the end of the presentation as well. I am your presenter today, Dan Krasowski. I'm a contractor for NYSERDA working for TRC companies and the program manager for the Appliance Upgrade Program. So today's session is going to be abbreviated. There was some additional slides that we'll add about managing coupon codes and reviewing and submitting quality install data. That will be a separate meeting that we will plan to schedule within the next 2 weeks. So today's session will be focused on understanding MyEnergy and how to navigate it, as well as submitting AUP applications. Just to clarify as well, there's a number of different companies on the phone. Some of you are enrolled as retailers who may act as a contractor and do an appliance installer, or some retailers have subs, some contractors, maybe electricians or plumbers, general contractors on staff that are underneath their company that they can work with. So some retailers may act as an appliance installer, or some may act as just a simple plug and play application. And again, just be fully present. Please keep your lines muted, and any questions, please type them into the chat, and we'll have time for questions at the end of the presentation. And this is just the high-level process. We'll discuss general navigation in terms of how to log into MyEnergy, how to create a MyEnergy profile, how to access the Learning Center, how to request support for an application within MyEnergy, and how to search for a clean energy hub, as well as how to submit applications on behalf of a customer. So we're going to start today's presentation with just the overview of the Appliance Upgrade Program. Eligible New York State residents are eligible to receive up to $840 off the purchase of an ENERGY STAR certified heat pump dryer from participating retailers. So there's really two sides of the program. There's the retailer side and the contractor side. There's several retailers that have signed up for the program now that have created coupons that are worth up to $840. So customers that are interested in purchasing an ENERGY STAR certified heat pump dryer will visit the NYSERDA Energy portal, and they'll be able to certify themselves. Once they're determined that they're income eligible, they'll receive a rebate award confirmation code and a coupon code specifying their eligible services and rebate levels. So the coupon code could be for 50% of the qualified cost, as shown in the first table below, or it could be for 100%, and both are up to $840 off the cost of an ENERGY STAR certified heat pump dryer. Customers may also be eligible as well for installation of electrical panels and wiring of appliances as well. They may have older panels that need to be upgraded. They may have a 3-prong outlet for their old dryer. They may need to be upgraded to a compliant 4-prong outlet. So that table on the left-hand side shows the electrical upgrades as well, up to $4,000 for electrical service, $2,500 for wiring, which comes to a max per address of $7,340. The second chart below on the right-hand side shows the incentives that are available for contractors as well. Simply plugging in and installing a dryer, $150. If that customer is located within a disadvantaged community throughout the state of New York, they can receive an additional $200 for working with that customer. Electrical panels, $150, as well as electrical wiring per dwelling, $150. So once you're enrolled as a participating contractor, your contact information will show up on NYSERDA's Find a Contractor tool. So any customer that is determined that they're in need of upgrades, they'll choose your company and they'll reach out letting you know that they've received a coupon for either a wiring or panel upgrade. So the coupon amounts themselves are determined by NYSERDA, as mentioned in the previous slide, and they'll be applied to the customer's invoice. So when you do a service, so say for example, if you're an electrical contractor or a general contractor and you're installing a panel, and that panel, say for example, costs $5,000, you would apply the cost of the coupon, and in this case, $4,000 to the cost, if a customer received the $4,000 coupon, to the cost of their invoice. So the customer would pay you $1,000 directly, and then you would invoice NYSERDA through MyEnergy to receive payment on the back end, as well as any of those other installation fees, the $150 for installing an appliance if that's applicable, $150 for wiring upgrade or panel upgrades. This is a very important link below. This link is the program opportunity notice, which has the program manual that discusses the terms and conditions of the program and all the required information that is needed when working with New York State residents. So I would highly encourage to save this link. It's definitely worth reviewing the program manual if you haven't done so already. So as mentioned before, there's a number of different trades and functionality for the appliance upgrade program. It could be appliance installer. Many of the participants on today's call are retailers that are enrolled as appliance installers. So if there's a retailer, for example, that doesn't have electricians or plumbers, or they're not general contractors on staff, they can still receive an incentive for basically plugging the purchase unit in. So their delivery drivers, for example, will deliver the appliance to the customer's house. If the wiring's all set, 4-prong outlet, for example, and they just plug the unit in, they would be enrolled as an appliance installer. There's also electricians, general contractors that may be certified or licensed to do panel installations and wiring upgrades, as well as plumbers. There are people that have gas dryers. So one of the requirements for AUP is to have that old unit gas capped when you're replacing an existing gas dryer and you're upgrading to an ENERGY STAR certified heat pump dryer. And then below are just listed some of the measures. So you have the appliance itself, which is the ENERGY STAR certified heat pump dryer or combo washer dryer units, wiring and electrical panel upgrades if necessary. There may be customers that are reaching out that are unsure if they need wiring upgrades or not. So as your role as a contractor is to assist them in answering any questions they have. And then again, gas capping. If there are plumbers, licensed contractors that are certified to do gas capping, that would be a requirement for gas appliances. So there are a number of different reasons why, or a number of different relationships between New York residents and participating contractors. Some customers, residents may need a participating contractor to apply to the appliance upgrade program on their behalf. So it could be a resident that someone on this call knows personally, and they're not sure how to navigate. They could have you log in and you can apply on behalf of that customer. It could be a New York resident who is already approved, went through the steps of the program and has a coupon and needs a contractor to work with in order to have their appliance installed. And then as well as plumbers for the gas capping requirement as well. or general contractors who are certified to do gas capping work. So now we'll just discuss some required documentation. And several of you who have already applied to the program, you've been in contact with either Mike Faraka or myself or someone from the AUP team in terms of the documentation that's required. This is all requested when you apply to be a participating contractor on the program. Would include a certificate of insurance with NYSERDA in the state of New York as a certificate holder, a W-9 tax document, copy of any applicable licenses, and we'll work with you on that if you're unsure of what type of licenses are needed throughout the state of New York. There's license requiring in several villages, cities, boroughs. Sometimes it's not required to be licensed, but we want to make sure that depending on what location of the state you're working, that you're eligible to install electrical panels or do wiring upgrades based on the specific type of contractor that you are. There's also a requirement too for customer references, and this is waived if you're a current NYSERDA contractor on Empower Plus or a different NYSERDA program. And then finally, the signed petition agreement, just agreeing to the program guidelines. So now we're just going to walk through, and a lot of this is pretty self-intuitive. There'll be a lot of screenshots about the actual interface itself with MyEnergy. Some of it seems pretty redundant in terms of clicking here, typing here, saving there. So we don't plan to spend too long on the sides, but again, if there's any questions at the end, you can feel free to let us know. But this is just an overview on NYSERDA's MyEnergy platform. It's an online portal. It's designed to enhance the customer engagement in home energy efficiency and clean energy improvements. So it's designed for New York residents, contractors, clean energy hubs, retailers, and implementation contractors, allowing them to find the services, the energy efficiency programs, the rebate offers that a customer or a resident will need to make their home, apartment, living area more energy efficient. So now we're just going to go into the general navigation of MyEnergy, including how to register, how to modify a profile, how to access the Learning Center, how to request support, and then how to search for a clean energy hub. And before we start this, I wanted to clarify too, those of you who are applying as contractors on the program, when you apply as a participating contractor and your information is submitted, you will receive a login to MyEnergy directly from NYSERDA. There is no need to go in and register on your own. That will be provided to you, as some of you that are already enrolled as participating contractors are aware. So again, if you're a contractor that's applying for the AUP as a participating contractor, your login information will be sent to you once you submit your application, and we work with you to get you enrolled. So this screen is how to register as a first-time New York State resident. So you may have people that you know, customers of yours that you've done work for in the past. So either a retailer or a contractor, general contractor, plumber, electrician. You can, if you know a customer that is interested in this program and they're interested in purchasing Energy Star heat pump dryer and receiving up to $840 off, or those panel upgrades that are associated with making those appliances compliant and safe, you can work with them to enroll them in the program by following the steps in the next few slides. So the partner link is right there, and you would just click and log in or register. And again, this is registering as a customer, not registering as a contractor. The contractor portion is handled internally when you apply. And there's another pop-up right there to register. So the next step is, it's again pretty self-intuitive. There'll be spaces for contact information, name, email, phone number, and username, which is typically an email. And if you forgot your password, there's a screen for that as well. And a password reset tool. Again, this is just some slides that show how to log into MyEnergy. Typing in your credentials and logging in. It's pretty similar to the previous slides. And now we'll just briefly discuss how to modify an existing profile. So if your profile is missing information, there'll be a pop-up that will designate that. You can select your profile when you log in from the drop-down, and then click Edit, and you're able to go in and change your name, company name, phone number, contact information. And then once that information is entered, you can hit Save, and it's called out below. First name, last name, email, phone, and mailing address is required. In the MyEnergy portal, it also has a learning center too, which is helpful. And the link is right there. So the learning center provides information about all the energy efficiency measures that are supported through NYSERDA, tips on how to make your homes more efficient, basically a library and wealth of knowledge for everything New York State energy efficiency. If there's specific need for application support, there's a support button on the login screen. And you can either call or email. And again, this is just for, there'll be a link later on in terms of contractor or retailer support. As many of you know, it's the IRA retail at nyserda.newyork.gov. This is specifically if there's a question with the application. If there's a New York State resident that you're working with on an application and they need support for the application, this is how you would request support through the tool. And just providing information in terms of the nature of your inquiry. And then you can send an email through the tool to request support. And then there's also phone numbers on there for the call center. If there was a customer that had any questions, the customers can call, as well as participating contractors that are submitting on behalf of a customer. And now we're just going to talk about how to search for clean energy hubs throughout the state of New York. So clean energy hubs, for those of you who are not familiar with them, there's 12 clean energy hubs throughout the state of New York. They're basically information centers with energy experts that can help customers, contractors, New York State residents of all walks of life with the access they need for any energy efficiency projects they have, any questions about how to make their homes, apartments, buildings more energy efficient. They help small businesses, homeowners, large and small businesses alike. Customers are often interested in energy assessments as well. So the MyEnergy hubs, by clicking on this link, you can find your local hub. And again, there are 12 throughout the state of New York. They'll also help too if there's a customer that's looking for a participating contractor. So say, for example, there's a customer that's looking for a contractor that can do electrical work. They would be able to point to one of your companies or give the customer a link to, these are the participating contractors on the Appliance Upgrade Program. These are the ones that are enrolled in the program and are qualified to do the work for the Appliance Upgrade Program. So it's kind of an information sharing platform. When you apply, you'll automatically be enrolled, and we'll be able to share their information with you when customers visit the hubs. Could you please mute your line? Thank you. And again, you can search by counties as well, the drop-down box. And for more information on hubs, this link is a valuable link. It has all the information that you would ever need to know about hubs in terms of what programs are offered, what services they offer there. But again, these people are energy experts that work on the state energy efficiency programs with NYSERDA, and they'll be able to answer customer questions or contractor questions, retailer questions. They work with all types of businesses and customers. And now we'll just briefly discuss some application management tools within MyEnergy. So we'll discuss how to submit an application on behalf of a New York State resident and how to view a New York State resident's application in MyEnergy. So we'll talk about how to submit an application on behalf of a New York State resident. And these are just some points to remember when you're filling out the application. Make sure to complete each section. If you need time, you can save it and then return at any time. Make sure the contact person on the application, the customer, is the same person listed on their electric utility bill. And then yourself as the participating contractor will need to update the most recent electric bill, as it's the required eligibility documents. And again, you can always save the application and go back in when those documents become available. Asterisks for required fields. And again, the phone number is there if you need help with the application, as well as the email address that you can email for application support. And again, this information is the key information that's required: applicant, assistance information, physical address, household income for validation, home improvement project type eligibility. So these 15 items. So the first step here, and then again, this is submitting application on behalf of a customer that you may be working with. As a general contractor, electrician, a retailer, you may know customers. This is a great way too. If you're a retailer, for example, if you know customers that need an Energy Star heat pump dryer, you're telling them about the program, you can help them navigate this process. Same thing with electricians, plumbers, contractors. You can help them navigate this process. They can select you if you're enrolled as the participating contractor. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. So you'd start by clicking the My Journey. You would do Start My Plan. And in this case, heat pump dryers is the one that you would choose for the AUP. You'd want to mention that you're completing the application, in this case, as a NYSERDA participating contractor. If a customer did this on their own, they would select either homeowner, renter. Clean energy hubs can also submit applications on behalf of customers too. So that's a benefit of the Clean Energy Hub, is a customer could go in to one of the 12 locations throughout New York State, and they could help them navigate this process, which is very nice. And this just has some questions in terms of if there's assistance, income assistance over the past 12 months. And as noted below, referral codes are not applicable for the appliance upgrade program. Certain programs they are, but not appliance upgrade. And again, it just starts out by asking where you'd like to do the project, which is the physical location, and then the number of people in each household. And 10 would be the max value. So if there's 12, you'd put 10. And then to qualify the customer as a program, it will ask you for income ranges A, B, or C. So you want to select the letter that best corresponds to the resident's estimated gross income range. And this would include all sources of income, including disability, workers' comp, unemployment, pension, maintenance, Social Security. And this just asks what type of project you're looking to undertake. So, for example, for the appliance upgrade program, you choose electric heat pump clothes dryer.
Dan, looks like we have a question.
Hey, just
Sure.
a question. Do any documents have to get uploaded, or is it just drop-down boxes? For the customer.
Yes, the customer will have to submit, proof of income during the application process, but not at this current moment.
Okay. We're just wondering if the customer can fill out some of this when they're here and then leave and upload that later.
Yes, they should be able to do that.
All right, thank you.
And I guess at this time, are there any other questions that anyone else may have?
I saw the option to upload this as an installer. What if we're a retailer? Do we still pick the installer option?
Yeah, I believe most of the retailers that are signed up as contractors are listed as appliance installers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions anyone might have at this time?
Thank you, Mike.
Looks like we got a question from Cynthia.
Yes. Now, do we have to? Do we have-
Retailers and contractors to.
Could you repeat that?
Yes. Do we have to create a username for the homeowner first, or we just fill out this part of the application?
So if you're working with a homeowner that is interested in the program, you'd have to start from the beginning and enroll them as a user in MyEnergy.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep. So this just shows the eligibility details. And it says, for example, you've been approved for 50% off the retail price of an eligible heat pump dryer up to $840. And again, the coupon value, if, for example, the dryer is $2,000 and you receive a 50% off coupon, it would cover the full $840. If the dryer was only $1,200, this customer would receive $600. And again, that covers installation, delivery, and taxes, as well as installation.
I
Dan,
have another question.
I was going to say, it looks like Anthony Izzo has a question, and we have a question in the chat as well.
Sure.
Anthony, I don't know if you'd like to come off mute, please. Anthony, do you have a question?
Okay. There.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. I would like to know if this program coincides with any of the other utility programs. So we do work with Con Edison with their programs. Can you only do one or the other, or can this coincide to an existing other program?
This is a standalone program. So it's not done in conjunction with any other programs.
Okay,
As
So it
far as
can't be-
as far as I'm aware.
right. Yeah, so I was just wondering, because sometimes these programs, they get double dipped and, that's not allowed in a lot of cases, so. Because they do have similar programs in New York City and Westchester and the other counties, the southern counties.
No,
Right,
that go ahead, Nicole, sorry.
no, sorry, Dan. That's a great question. Thank you. So like Dan said, this is a standalone program as it's coming from the Inflation Reduction Act funding. So we're similar to Empower Plus in that way, since they fall as we do under the HERE programs, the home electrification and appliance rebate programs. So with regards to those, a customer may only go through those programs individually. So they choose either Empower Plus or they choose the AUP program. Depending on which one they choose, there's a cooling off period of a year after the project is completed for them to apply for another program. So that's our HERE programs. With regards to the utility programs that you've mentioned, so right now the program is set up to just work with the funding from the Inflation Reduction Act. So far, we haven't seen others except one with RG&E that provides rebates for a heat pump clothes dryer. So like a customer, an RG&E customer would be able to go through that as well on top of our program. Our limitation here again is within HERE. So Empower Plus for our single family customers at this time and AUP. And then just in general, there cannot be any other federal rebates or monies layered with this program. So as you called out, the double dipping.
Okay, that clarifies that. One more question. Multifamily, this is for one and two families? Or is it one to four families? Because I have all these programs in my head. I'm a little confused.
Mm-hmm. So this is for renters and building owners of single family units. It's primarily for single family. A
Okay.
multifamily tenant could apply, but it would be on a per unit basis. So at this time, AUP does not have a path for a multifamily building to apply, let's say a 50 unit building and receive dryers for all 50 of those units.
Okay, so in the case of the individual tenant and he wants a dryer, he has one already, because this is for existing facilities, correct? This is
Right,
not for
existing
new.
buildings, correct.
Okay, so let's say one does have, it's not as common though, but let's say they do. They have a dryer that's gas and they want to electrify it. But now in that building, they don't have enough service. They need some electrical upgrades
Mhm.
to their apartment. Will this work, this program for that individual?
This program will provide the rebates needed to use it, upgrade their service. So we have an additional rebate for that to upgrade the panel. If it is, so if this is the building owner of this single family building applies, that's fine. They do it by themselves. But somehow if the tenant applies and this same or similar issue occurs with the building, that's where the landlord will need to be involved. The landlord will, especially with an upgrade like that, but regardless, for any tenant that's applying through our program, the landlord will need to submit an approval letter, just that they're aware of what's going on, and there are some other clauses that are in there, then that's submitted along with the application. So again, just in the case of a tenant.
Mhm. And what if it's a condo owner and they own individual units?
Then the condo owner would be applying for each unit. So they would submit
Gotcha.
separate applications for each unit.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
It looks like we have a couple questions in the chat too. ADH group, I see you had a question typed up. I think we might have just covered that in our recent questions that was just asked. Are you guys good? Do you have anything additional that you need answered at the moment?
No, basically, what we were wanna ask you mainly was like for, let's say, for a two family property, does each tenant will have to get application, I assume, right?
Correct, yes. They could
Alright.
either apply on their own, or the building owner could apply for each of one on their behalf.
Got it. But if the two-family has it requests a service upgrade, does the landlord has to submit the application of the tenant?
They would have to get that approval letter, right, Nicole? If it's not their property.
That's correct. Yeah. So in any instance where the tenant is submitting an application, they'll need the landlord agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, looks like we have a question that came in from Paul. Can the customers only get the rebates for upgrading their panels and wiring parts without installing the dryer?
No. No, this has to be done in conjunction with purchasing an Energy Star certified heat pump dryer, or Energy Star certified heat pump dryer, washer, dryer combo unit. It has to be one of the ones that's on the list, and I think currently there are around 55 or so models that qualify.
Gotcha. All right, Nicholas. Oh, sorry, Dan.
No, I was going to say that we can also provide the link to of the qualified product list as a follow-up to this call today, that has a list of eligible models.
Nicholas, I see you have a question. Please let us know what's on your mind. I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm an electrical contractor. Now, the only way this would work is if they apply for wanting a appliance, correct?
That's correct.
So they would go to a Lowe's or they're one of these appliance retailers that is on with you guys. Then who would give them the list to say, okay, reach out to some of these electrical contractors? How would that process work?
There's a list of approved contractors as well as retailers that's on the website that they can choose from. When they're applying, they can choose their retailer and they can choose their contractor. It will show up on a list.
Okay, so how are these individual homeowners gonna know about the rebates? Do we have to go around and educate them, or is there like some kind of, or is that on your end, the state's end? How does this? Or are we selling it? How does the homeowners understand that, okay, this program's out there?
There was a press release that went out that let New York residents know about the program. Also, too, when they apply, it's a pretty good job of explaining the program, the requirements, the retailers, the contractors that are involved, wiring, panel upgrades, gas capping. Nicole, not to put you on the spot, but was there anything else? I mean, PCs, participating contractors, I mean, we would certainly encourage you to let people that you know about the program.
And by letting them know, we would just kind of like guide them to this website, and then they can read up more about it on their own.
Yeah, and we can provide you with the links as well. There's kind of a customer-facing appliance upgrade program page. Many of you have already seen the appliance upgrade program link that we shared with the program opportunity notice that explains the program at a high level, and then also has that program manual that has every aspect of the program and how to apply and the benefits for the customers and each stakeholder's responsibility and documentation that's needed. But yeah, we can provide the group with the kind of the consumer facing appliance upgrade program website link following this call that has all that information on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I think
just
in
to
the
add-
interest of, oh, go ahead, Nicole.
Sorry, Dan, just to tie it back all together. So what we've been walking through, these stats here are from that link, that MyEnergy page. So what we've been seeing through this application process, this walkthrough, is what a customer would see as they're applying or when they first log on, in addition to what you would be seeing if you were to submit an application on their behalf. So generally steps look the same. It's just who is doing it and who is, as we discussed earlier, submitting the documentation, inputting that information. So like Dan said, as you're working with your customers on the day-to-day and their typical items that come up, like we definitely encourage you to share the MyEnergy page with them and encourage them to apply. But in general, again, as Dan said, we have been and are continuing to conduct outreach to inform residents about this program. Just on this, I think we discussed, but just to, again, before we continue, so we're seeing this customer application process. Once that's submitted, it's reviewed on our side, and then the customer and you, if you've applied on their behalf, will be receiving an approval application email should they be eligible to the program. And that contains 2 sets of coupon codes. And so one of them that we've been talking about is the coupon to purchase the appliance. And that's from during this application process, the retailer is selected by the customer. So to your question about how does the customer determine who's on the list, how do they pick it, how do they receive, and in this case it's a coupon, that's the process there, just to add in. But sorry, Dan, back to you.
Not a problem. And thank you, Nicole. And I think in the interest of time, we can just save the rest of the questions for at the end. We'll have a question session just so we can get through the rest of these slides. And again, this is just continuing with how to submit an application on behalf of a New York State resident. Again, most of this is pretty intuitive. You type in the customer's contact information in. You're confirming their address, their site information, building type, number of units, number of bedrooms, mailing information. You want to make sure that the information that's provided is as accurate as possible. And then just general information about the homeowner, first name, last name, phone and email. And then any specific utility information they have, who's their electric service provider, their account number, heating and fuel type. If there's any health issues, that box down below calls that out, that you can mention something specific or any concerns about the buildings. And then the partner information here. So you can type in, And I believe, Nicole, this is for the contractor, correct? If they're submitting on behalf, they could select their name if they're a participating contractor, correct? Am I reading that correctly?
Under the partner information, this
Yeah.
is in reference, so at the top, or the second box is regarding the hubs, and then the contractor selection should be regarding a self-install or versus contractor install. I think this screenshot may
Okay.
need to be updated, Dan.
Okay, so they would select if they want to do a contract or if they want to do a self-install.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, there was another slide on there. And then this is just changing household members, added household members, demographics, denoting military service or disabilities. Household member income, 18 years or older. Not a full-time student, adult household member with income. And just a call out to say that the annual gross income is auto-calculated. And this is just to review the application in terms of the applicant information, program information, address, household information, renter, homeowner. And this is a place where you'd upload the customer's documents for them, the residence documents. So any kind of pay stubs, water bills, gas bills, supporting documentation. And then there's this place for electronic signature too. So as a contractor, you're able to sign on behalf of the customer, or if it's a customer applying, they can sign themselves. And then return to the home page by clicking the MyEnergy link. And this just shows once you log in, you'll have a list of your projects that are available. And you can go back once you log in and submit if needed. This one says unsubmitted. There's the area for uploading documents. And this one shows, the screenshot shows that it has been submitted and the application is, so it's basically a status screen. You can go in and see where submitted application lies in the process. If it's unsubmitted, you can go back in and you can update the information, provide additional documentation as needed. And this will just show you how to view a residence application. You open MyEnergy and scroll to My Projects and Applications. And then it will have your list of current applications that you submitted on behalf of customers. And it will have a status for each. So as mentioned before, there were some links in there that had to do with specific application questions. Those questions can be, there was a phone number early in the presentation. The email address for that is aup@nycerta.newyork.gov. Any questions regarding the retailer or contractor side of the program, how to, any applying as a retailer, applying as a contractor, contractor documentation that's required, any type of application that you as a contractor applying on yourself as opposed to applying on behalf of a customer. That will be sent directly to IRA-retail@nycerta.newyork.gov. And many of you are familiar with emailing myself and or Mike, as well as the other program staff too, to answer questions about that. Were there any other questions at this time? I don't know if there was anything else, Mike, that showed up in the chat.
There's a couple in the chat, but let's start off first with Catherine Quinn. She's had her hand up for a while.
Hi,
Catherine.
everyone. Thank you. Hello. Two quick questions. The first is that you mentioned that a building owner can apply on behalf of the tenant. I'm assuming then that the building owner is supplying the tenant's documentation, their income, etc.
That's correct. Yes.
And then who owns that dryer? The tenant owns the dryer?
Whoever's paying for it, the tenant would
Okay.
pay. If the
Whoever
tenant
pays for it.
Yeah.
Understood. And then the other thing is that you said that if the tenant is applying, they need approval from the landlord. What does that approval look like?
There's
There's
a
a-
landlord agreement that needs to be completed by the building owner and signed. That's a copy that we can distribute with resources afterwards. And I just want to make a note on your prior question on who owns the dryer. Like I think that in that case, that would be a case by case basis, depending on the agreement that the building owner has in place with their tenant.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
The next question we have here is from Bradley. And his question is, can you confirm to the appliances would need to be installed by the authorized dealer or contractor or just sold by an authorized retailer to get this?
Yeah, they would need to be, I mean, a customer, if it's just this, they could choose to install it themselves. If it's a simple plug and play application. Most of the retailers that are enrolled in the program are enrolled as contractors. If it's a simple plug and play application, hey, I bought a new dryer. It's a 4-prong dryer. I have a 4-prong outlet. You can just plug it in. I don't know if there's anything else to add, Nicole or Ryan, about that.
Yeah, I'll just add a little, add a bit more context, I think. So for the customer to receive the rebate for the purchase of the appliance, they need to have selected a participating retailer from the list during the application process, submitted and received approval for that application with the coupon as we've discussed. Then use that coupon, redeem it at one of the participating retailers. With regards to the installation part of it, so in order for you to receive the participating contractor installation incentives, you would need to be a participating contractor. So have to be on that list. And then for the appliance installation, like that needs to be done by you or depending on what your trade is, perform the electrical wiring and or panel upgrades should they be necessary for that appliance installation. And so that's the contractor piece. For the customer to receive the rebates associated with the wiring and panel upgrades, they would need to have worked with participating contractor, so one of you, in order for them to receive those rebates.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Our next question is from William. And William was wondering, when submitting on behalf of a resident, can the contractor sign on behalf of the customer?
Yes, I believe the tool allows you to do that.
Okay. Moving on, the next question is from Happy Electronics, or Happy Appliances, excuse me. The question is, they have several outstanding submissions for payment, and it's been a month for the oldest one. They have not been reviewed yet. How long is the wait for payment typically?
It's typically 3 to 4 weeks, but we can follow up with Happy on that and just see where things stand and get back to you.
Sounds good. Our next one, I think it is Anthony had another question.
Yeah, hi again. Regards to the contract, being on the contractors list, we've applied, how long ago? 3 weeks ago?
About 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago, and we still don't see it on the portal. Or on the website, we don't see our name there. How long will it take for this process? We've submitted everything, insurances and all that.
I don't know if you want to handle that one, Mike. What was the name of your company?
Tri-State Electric.
Tri-State Electric. Okay.
We will be in touch with you after this, Anthony.
Okay.
Okay.
Via email or phone call?
Email.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Paige has a question. If a customer uses the AUP program for a heat pump dryer, does that affect them going through the Empower Plus program, or is the customer able to do both at the same time?
They should be able to do both. I know that some aspects of the program in terms of wiring and panel upgrades are similar, but I mean, I don't think they'd request a panel upgrade from both programs.
No, you can't, Dan, you can't do the Empower and AUP at the same time. This is Pete Kerwin.
Oh, thank you, Pete.
So-
Apologies for that. No, you can't.
We would recommend that the customer participate in the Empower program first. And once that project is completed, they can participate in the AUP program.
Okay, looks like, did Robert have a question? I think you might have had your hand raised. Robert? Okay, let's look at Chris's question to the chat. Are the financing options through the program, are the electrical panel upgrades only qualified if the dryer install depends on it?
That's correct. It has to be done in conjunction with the purchase of a heat pump dryer. So if it's determined that it's not necessary, then we wouldn't be able to proceed with that upgrade.
All right. I think we have a question from Julie Lou. Julie, please ask your question. I think you might be on mute. Julie, anything? Okay, let's go on to the next question. Oh, there. All right, let's go to Mohawk Valley Handyman. Would you be able to go over when the electrical panel box and wiring incentive can be received? Is a whole home load calculation required to be completed to demonstrate the need for upgrading the panel? Or are all customers upgrading their dryer to a heat pump dryer eligible for panel box upgrades?
Do you have any thoughts on that, Nicole? I mean, I was thinking, or Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll speak on this.
Go ahead.
So right now, program doesn't have this specific requirement. Our panel requirements are centered around the applicable municipal requirements and then the need based on what you've determined with your customer after evaluating their scope.
All right. We to go on to the next question.
Sure.
All right. A question from Glenn. Do the big box stores know about the program? How would you find out about the program?
Yeah, we let there's been dozens and dozens of retailers, both independents, mom and pops, regional, big box stores, national chains, online retailers that are aware of the program through our research. So those that are enrolled, I mean, they're familiar with the program. Again, the list is on the website. We can share that link that has a list of participating retailers. There was what do they call it? A communication that went out from the governor that described the appliance upgrade program as well. So a lot of customers are aware of that. Is there anything else, Nicole, that I may be missing?
I will just mention that we are creating point of purchase materials that we plan to put into participating retailer stores to make customers aware of the program.
Yeah, and the program too, in general, for both retailers and contractors, it is open enrollment. So anyone that is qualified to apply can apply, as long as you're certified or licensed to do the work as a contractor, and you sell Energy Star certified appliances for retailer side, then you can apply for the program. Were there any additional questions?
I'll just reiterate, since I've seen a couple questions in the chat regarding this on photos for installations, that so far this discussion has been on the earlier part of the pipeline, we'll say, with the application process and those early materials that need to be collected for the application. And then, as Dan mentioned at the top of the call, there will be a second session to discuss that latter part of the pipeline, so post application approval, and that will involve the documentation that's required for those measures. If you're curious now, those requirements are outlined in the program manual, which Ryan included in the chat.
Were there any other questions? All right. So thank you everyone for attending today's session. As Nicole mentioned, within the next couple of weeks, we'll schedule another presentation to review managing coupon codes, anything that's post-application approval, including the review and submittal of quality install documentation. We'll make sure that there's a recording of this presentation that's uploaded to NYSERDA's website, and we'll provide links as well as the links that were discussed today to the customer-facing appliance upgrade program page, the program opportunity notice that Ryan put in the chat that has the program manual in it, as well as the slide deck for today's presentation. So thanks everyone again for participating. Again, if you had any questions, you can please feel free to email us at the email address on your screen. But thank you everyone, and please have a happy and please have a great weekend. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Thank you.